But you weren't in those boardrooms when that big industrial entity said, well, make it out of plastic. Wrap it up in plastic. You weren't in those boardrooms when the big corporations said, use that herbicide. Even though it's got some real problems, everything's known. They knew all the stuff along. Tobacco industry knew it was toxic. The agriculture business knows all that. This synthetic fertilizer and pesticides are toxic. Well, and they keep doing it anyway. Oil, toxic. Keep doing it anyway. You weren't in those boardrooms where those decisions were made and the possibility of questions asked. Well, what happens with that plastic? What do you do? Who gets it? What happens with that herbicide? What happens? You know, there's none of that discussion has been in the history. They just did it. Because they knew it'd make money. And that was the only concern. Not you. And so the whole thing was built like that. You make the money, make the money, make the money. Here they're trying to, right now at the time of this recording, reopen after that first phase of COVID. And a lot of people are saying, why? Wait a minute. Well, a business got to make the money somewhere. But that means you, by the way, have to be buying things. Because 66% of what is economics is really, in this system, is you continually buying things. And that's it. So you control a lot of what can be done, actually, when you exert that powerful majority into those decisions made by industry. You're first. Your kids are first. But you weren't there in this whole system. And so, well, it went after generation after generation. And the system, it's mathematics justifying the system. On and on. Until people think that's the only system. No, it isn't. You make economics about anything you want. And then you build all the parameters around it and whatnot. You give justification to it. And it should do something of benefit for you. But it didn't. That old poison pollution crap was who made the money. A very small percentage of people are very wealthy. And a vast number of you are really suffering. Needlessly, by the way. Because if you have the right economic system, it would all benefit you and spin around you. That includes education, healthcare, all the big ones. Clean air, clean water, healthy food, free from pesticides. Big ones. And there you'd be. In a much better, cleaner world environment of humans that would have to be, in that new system, also have a strong emphasis on equal rights. Equal rights. And the focus becomes of everything economic and activity about us. Surprise, surprise. Yes, that's how it can be. You just have your motivation. You have your decision of what you're going to structure it around. They built the last one on this fraud and disaster of profit. Everything was based on, well, did you make a profit? And you saw the outcome. A very disaster. COVID-19 is just part of it, too. Well, you would think, now that you got some time, you're just sitting around thinking about the whole thing, how we got here, what are you going to do? Is it just go back and keep doing the same thing when we've been hearing for a long time already that you're just destroying the place? Climate change is happening. There isn't any dissent on the issue in the science community. The only dissent is fabrications from Fox News and right-wing wackos on the radio and whatnot. There isn't any dissent amongst the scientific research of the thing. Humans are causing it. It's happening. Well then, you got to change. You see how big and how dramatic. You got to change the whole economic system so that your interests run those corporations. Your interests runs healthcare. Your interest runs the food industry. You're first. That's the way out. And that's the way forward for a much better world. Because our focus is then about, as it should have always been, about you. All of us. That's what's first.